the recognition of Cardinal McCarrick for his tireless effort in helping the church. At Manhattan's Metropolitan Club, Archbishop and newly elected Cardinal Blaise Cupich presents Cardinal McCarrick with the Spirit of Francis Award.
The McCarrick Report is out, and evidently the main problem is that the Great One needs to return his Halo Award. By the way, will President Donald Trump concede? Francis sure hopes so. He's already congratulated President-elect Biden. Plus, Joe Biden says he's going to save America by building back better. A slogan he got from the Great Reset Transhumanism crowd. Oh, goody. All that and more tonight from the editor's desk. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Mack coming to you once again from the offices of the Remnant newspaper. This just in, democracy is obviously dead in America. You know, if we the people cannot be trusted not to unilaterally break the 7th and 8th commandment of God, a free election is a practical and theoretical impossibility. It ain't going to work. Democracy simply cannot live in a country that denies the moral law of God. And we're seeing that play out in spades right now. And speaking of denying the moral law of God, the McCarrick Report is out. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because, you know what? Most people did not bother slogging through it. Like everything else coming out of Francis's Vatican, it's just a lot of double speak, blame shifting, the stuff that everybody's come to expect from the United Nations Vatican. Shoot the messenger, play the blame game, and in this case, evidently, recall John Paul the Great's Halo Award.
John Paul's beatification cause, canonization cause, was controversial from the start. If a pope is declared a saint, and then many years later, or even a few years later, information comes out that would doubt the original process, this could shake the faith of people.
John Paul promoted McCarrick in 2000 to be Archbishop of Washington, D.C., despite persistent rumours of sexual misconduct. Last week, the Vatican issued a report on the ex-cardinal, which has raised questions once again on John Paul's sainthood.
Whoever saw that coming?
Now, Michael, I think what you're referencing is, of course, the sex abuse scandal when you talk about the difficult times. And there are those who criticize the speed of all of this because of John Paul II's handling of the sex abuse scandal within the church. Do you have concerns about that?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think the fast tracking of the beatification, in a sense, is an attempt to preempt history's verdict on Pope John Paul's reign, on his pontificate. Because whether he was aware of all of the ins and outs of the sex scandal or not, he certainly should have been. But let's say that he wasn't. For some reason, he was kept out of the loop. This, again, is something that history is going to look at, that the non-Catholic world is going to look at. And I think 5-10 years down the line, we're going to be seeing a lot of suspicion about this process, a lot of skepticism.
So what was it all about? We all knew this was going to happen, and now it's happening because it was rushed.
The worrisome thing about this is, let's put this bluntly, everyone knew about Cardinal McCarrick.
What was it all about? I think it's pretty obvious. If this New World Order thing, if it was ever to get off the ground, the old order of Christendom simply had to be totally obliterated first. So the last 50 years of policy, liturgy, leadership in the Catholic Church has been about one thing: totally dismantling and discrediting the Church until her human element now is so ridiculously compromised and corrupt that the successor of St. Peter himself thinks nothing of parading pagan idols right into the Basilica of St. Peter in Rome, or endorsing the pro-abort, pro-gay marriage apostate Joey Biden as the leader of the once free world.
Pope Francis spoke with U.S. President-elect Joe Biden, according to a statement released by Biden's transition team. It says the president-elect thanked His Holiness for extending blessings and congratulations.
The human element of the Catholic Church has lost even the will now to offer the sacraments to the faithful during a pandemic. Sorry, Grandma, I know you're dying, but you know what? We got to stay safe. What has happened to the Catholic Church? And now in the face of, I know, I'm being rhetorical. I know what happened to the Catholic Church. And again, in the face of this globalist super state, I can't even believe this. Like something out of the Twilight Zone. Next week, Americans will have Thanksgiving canceled. And Christmas is going to be canceled after that, and Easter after that, without so much as a whimper from the mighty princes of the church. And all of this, as we explained last time, over a virus with a 99% survival rate. Go ahead, Google COVID recovery percentage. And this is what tops the list. 99% recovery rate. Wikipedia, WebMD, it's all right there. That's what they're telling us. Numbers from the government. But mask up, Cardinal Dolan, because if you get sick, man, who's going to be accompanying us into Catholic la-la land? You know? Oh, man. Did you see Laura Ingram's show last night?
What should we take away from this?
What we should take away is that masks are basically useless as a protective measure. There wasn't much data about that before. There had been a very good meta-analysis done several months ago that was published in a CDC journal that suggested that. But this study was randomized. It had several thousand people, and it essentially showed that wearing masks does not protect the wearer at all.
In the hospital, we wear N95 masks and face protection because we're in an environment taking care of COVID patients where the virus is very active and very concentrated. But what you see out in that are the fashionable things people are wearing now offer very little, if any, protection at all.
The Twitter scolds are tweeting today saying, "Oh well, we've said it only protects. It's for others, not for you." But so if the virus can't get through to you,
there's not really evidence of that. That's right. Why would you think this works one way and not the other?
It doesn't matter. You're not Pennsylvania now. You poor Pennsylvanians. You're going to go to jail, I guess, if you don't mask up in your own home. It's just going to get worse. This fool is getting ready to order us all to wear masks. If he can remember to make the executive order, he's going to order us all to wear masks, probably in the shower or maybe to bed, eventually in our coffins, right?
Does anybody understand why a governor would turn this into a political statement? It's about patriotism.
Or, well, better get used to it. What's going on here? The answer is trending on Twitter right now. It's called the Great Reset. I know. Everybody's sick and tired of hearing about the Great Reset. So am I. It sounds crazy. It reads crazy. It is crazy. But it's the reality that we have to face. The Great Reset, which of course was the theme for the World Economic Forum, was supposed to be held in Davos. Now it's going to be held in Lucerne in Switzerland in the spring of 2021. And the reason we've been doing so many shows on the Great Reset is because, quite frankly, this is it. This is the explanation. This explains every stupid detail of the COVID crazy. Everything is explained if you take the time to look into this a little bit. COVID is their golden opportunity to launch the revolution.
We have to think how to structure, how to design the post-corona era. And here, of course, the word reset comes to my mind, because one thing is clear, we cannot come back to the old normal.
And what they're going to do is reset the whole world according to the social contract involving globalism and transhumanism. It sounds like crazy talk, doesn't it? You know why it sounds like crazy talk? Because it is crazy talk. But you see, these people are crazy, and they actually believe every word of this. They believe now that the human race needs to evolve beyond its current physical and mental limitation. And they're going to do this evolution through science and technology. This is exactly what they're saying. They're promising us that the Great Reset, this guy Schwab, the Great Reset will make it so that future pandemics will not shut down the world ever again. That sounds like good news, doesn't it? This is what they're promising us. And the question we have to ask ourselves is, how is this going to work? Well, for example, we're all locked down in our homes again right now, aren't we? And if we're all locked in our homes, how will the viruses of the future spread? Well, they won't. Isn't that great? And then again, the question becomes, well, then how will human beings continue to function locked in their homes? And the answer is, well, we're going to have to evolve. And thanks to COVID, we're already evolving.
What is teleworking? Teleworking means working from home or remotely using modern technology and telecommunications to remain in touch with your employer or business.
If we can make that a global reality, or if they can make it a global reality, the rat race will be over. We won't have to go to work anymore. And we can just stay home and ride our unicorns and chase rainbows around the backyard.
At this moment, big tech censors are blocking you from seeing the information you want. Make sure the Remnant has a way to contact you directly. Sign up for Michael Matt's newsletter today and never miss the content they are trying to keep from you. The link is in the description box below. God bless you.
But it gets better, this great reset. If the children of the world, our little dependents, if they're going to be remote learning from now on, well, how will they ever catch the flus of the future? They won't. Isn't that nice? You look at Bill and Melinda Gates, that's what they're talking about. They're all excited.
The other thing I would say is not only has COVID exposed the gaps in the system, it's also showed us opportunities. Like the fact that kids could jump online and start learning. Now, unfortunately, it's not all kids, because many kids didn't have access to a computer or good digital literacy online or teachers who knew how to teach online. But we know now it's possible.
And of course, Alexa is already turning our lights on and keeping us informed.
Researchers at security firm Checkmarks say they built a proof of concept skill for Amazon Echoes that in theory could have Alexa listen to, transcribe, and report what users say.
So in the future, I would imagine, is it a big stretch to say that Alexa will become sort of a mandatory part of the new normal? That way, big sister Alexa can turn on our lights, keep our heating and air conditioning temperatures within the allowed globalist limits, of course, to save the common home, right? And at the same time, this little thing in our house is going to monitor our children's distant learning programs just to make sure that everyone in the world is learning the exact same right, tolerant, inclusive, and green truth. Do you think that's a stretch? And of course, that means no more gas-guzzling school buses. And that's good for Pachamama. No more sprawling school buildings cluttering up the green spaces of our common home. And then, of course, America's kids have been training for this for decades.
Ryan Carmichael, known as Tree in the online world, launched Streamer House a year and a half ago in Lakeland. 3 gamers take 8-hour shifts and play video games 24 hours a day, nonstop.
Young people are becoming incapable now of engaging with each other, with their parents, because they're interfacing constantly with their little headsets, with their pricey portals to cyberspace, compliments of Steve Jobs, Close down the libraries. We don't need libraries. We need books. Books were for yesterday's Homo sapiens. Celebrate Thanksgiving by Zoom. That chubby governor down in Illinois actually said that. If you're going to have a celebration of Thanksgiving, do it by Zoom. We're already ordering everything online. We can get everything we need from Jeff Bezos and the guys. So, close down the malls. Well, that's a pretty good idea, actually. I hate malls. But anyway, they're going to close the old malls down to save the green spaces. And then we're going to bank online. Because cash, what does cash do? Cash carries COVID all around the world. We can't have cash. We got to get rid of cash.
There are many, many people who have phones and do digital banking on their phone. They have access to money on their phone, mobile money. That was at scale in a number of countries. But all of a sudden, people really said, oh my gosh, to not have to stand in line for my government payment where I might get sick. So just to take Pakistan alone, in 48 hours, 40 million additional people signed up for a digital bank account.
And once we're all online, whomever controls the internet controls you, controls the world, controls what we can see, what we can say, what we can think, what we can buy, everything. And they even want us now to worship Almighty God via the almighty computer. Just live stream the sacraments, no problem. What's your deal? Just get it on live stream. The Catholic Church saw this coming years and years ago, by the way, because when telephones first came in, the church was very clear. Priests could not hear confessions over telephones for obvious reasons, because there's no human contact. And human contact is kind of important to things like sacraments, like baptism. You've seen a picture of this yahoo squirting a baby from 6 feet away with his super squirter for baptism. It's a sacrilege. It's sick. It's perverse. But anyway, this is what they're talking about, making us into something other than what our parents and grandparents were, living life in a completely different way. And COVID provides these technocrats with the global opportunity to isolate and control us all, to change us into a new kind of human being. And they are just so excited about it.
This pandemic has provided an opportunity for a reset. This is our chance to accelerate our pre-pandemic efforts to reimagine economic systems that actually address global challenges like extreme poverty, inequality, and climate change.
Conspiracy theories? No. This is the rage. This is the future. Time magazine says the COVID-19 pandemic has created a, quote, unique opportunity to craft a new future for humanity by, wait for it, building back better. That sound familiar? It should. It's the slogan for advancing the green agenda that was coined by the United Nations back in 2015. It's been around a while. And since that time, it's been borrowed by, you guessed it, the World Economic Forum and Klaus Dracula Schwab right here. This is how he describes the post-COVID reset, build back better. You can read all about it on their website. We'll put the link down below.
Building back better means getting support to the most vulnerable while maintaining our momentum on reaching the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the SDGs.
Again, they're not hiding anything. Build back better, though. Now, where else have we heard that lately? Oh, that's right, from this guy.
We owe it to future generations to build back better.
And from this guy.
We have a great opportunity to build back and build back better.
In fact, Build Back Better is Joe Biden's campaign slogan. Build back better. It sounds so chipper, doesn't it? And never go back to the old normal. Mother Earth, after all, demands this of us. It's the least we can do. And the Vatican, of course, gives this their full blessing.
My name is Monsignor Robert Vitillo, and I serve as the Secretary General for the International Catholic Migration Commission. We should not try to return to the old normal, which gave way to so many gaps between the rich and the poor, to such serious ecological degradation. The UN and its specialized agencies should play an important coordinating and technical role in the response to COVID-19.
Everybody's in on it, friends. There's no point in denying it. Luckily, they're all nuts, so maybe they can't pull it off, but they're all in on it. Now, I got some good news. There is some good news. After Joe Biden gets through stealing the White House, the COVID pandemic will mysteriously disappear. It's going to go away in the spring. Why? Because the Great Reset will fix everything.
So, definitively, multilateralism will get a boost by the election of President Biden. And I'm very hopeful that we can now create the necessary systems which we need for the 21st century.
You know, I just really hope that those Biden voters out there are happy, because you know what they just did? They voted for the end of their country, for the virtual house arrest of their families, and for an end to life as they knew it. I wonder if they realize that. Apparently not, but they're going to find out real soon if this keeps going like it is. Whom the gods will destroy, they're first making mad right before our eyes. And in conclusion, friends, we all, you know, we're all hoping that Donald Trump can somehow pull this election off, you know. We know they cheated. We agree it's unfair. But at some point, you know, we're going to have to stand with Donald Trump and support him when he concedes. We can't put all of our eggs in one basket. If Donald Trump concedes and loses this election, well, then we've lost the war and it's all over. We can't look at it that way. Donald Trump has the opportunity to lead the strongest populist resistance movement in the history of this country. I pray to God that if Trump has to concede, this is exactly what he does. He'll oversee the smooth transition of power over to Joe Biden. And then, in my opinion, the very next day, he should announce his run for the White House in 2024. That's what Trump should do. That way, for the next 4 years, he would dominate the discussion. He would become the Douglas MacArthur to the Philippines. I shall return, you know. And the threat of the return of the king really would eclipse Grandpa Joe Biden's presidency for the next 4 years. And we all need to keep, you know, do our part to help keep this Trump train going. There's a lot we can do. You know, we can take the mask off. It's one of the most revolutionary things you can do. Say a prayer, take it off, go in the store, and explain to anybody who asks why you're taking it off. Get your arguments in your head first. Go in and do it. Tell everybody. If you see somebody else without a mask, walk up to them, shake their hand, and say thank you. Thank you for breathing. Thank you for being free. Get together on Thanksgiving. Do not let these morons in the governor's mansion tell you what you can do inside of your own house. Let the police come to your house. and arrest you or your mother, your kids, for meeting on Thanksgiving in America. We'll have fun with that. You see, civil disobedience, friends, peaceful civil disobedience is the only way out of this right now. And it's so easy. We're not going to be alone. Hundreds of millions of Americans have had enough of these aging hippies with their cockamamie ideas of world domination.
Now is the historical moment, the time to shape the system.
We've had enough. We seriously have. An example of that, in fact, coming up here on Saturday in Minnesota, any of you are in the area. This coming Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time, there's the Stuff Your Mandate protest outside of the Minnesota governor's residence here in Minnesota. God bless people that are responsible for this. Fantastic. I'm going to be there. You see, we can't back down. Don't be afraid. COVID cases are spiking right now because COVID testing is spiking. Duh! What do you think? They're lining up for miles because they're told they have to go get tests. Yes, and then they get their caseload higher. We all have a 99% chance of fully recovering from this thing. But you know who doesn't have a chance of recovering from this much longer if this insanity doesn't stop? Our children.
Going forward, whatever the future may hold, school closures should be off the table. They don't do anything to mitigate COVID, but they do cause catastrophic damage to the physical, mental, and social well-being of our youth.
You know who else isn't going to recover? The millions of people who are out of work, small business people, restaurant people, out of work. They're not going to recover. You wonder why they're shutting these restaurants down all over the place? Because they don't want small mama-papa restaurants anymore. They want to make it like Europe, where it looks really cute and quaint and sweet, but you know what? Mom and pops don't own those little cafes over in Paris, for example. The government does. Big business does. You see? You know who else isn't going to recover? Our grandmothers, locked away in nursing homes, dying alone. They're never going to recover.
My 97-year-old nan here, who we have taken from the care home because we haven't seen her for 9 months, is now being taken back by force to her care home. My mother has been arrested. My mother is in the back of the car here. She is a nurse. She is a fully qualified nurse who is wishing to care for her own mother. And here we have an incredible use of police time to take my 97-year-old grandmother back into a care home where she is deteriorating, where we haven't been able to see her for 9 months. Nan, I love you, and we are going to fight for you.
Friends, we can't let this go on. We are the ones that can stop this. In this case, we are the majority. We have millions of people who are done with this. All we need to do is spread the word. Stop it. Don't do it anymore. If we can break this thing back, push back against it, there's going to be a shout of freedom in this country like the world has never heard. Once people begin to see through the COVID terror that they're putting on us, the fear-mongering that we live with every day, we need to stop. We need to get over it. And let's get started right now, pushing back against this. Let's do this. As friends, at this point, you look at what they're doing. We have absolutely nothing to lose. I'm Michael Matt for Remnant TV. Keep the faith, and we'll see you next week.